everybody, and welcome to week 6 of our live interview series at Love Thy Body Project. I am super excited to be here with Sarah today. She is an amazing yoga instructor, and I cannot wait because it's something I want to delve into. So would you like to tell us a little bit about how you got started with yoga and the importance it is for you?
Absolutely. Well, firstly, thank you so much, Serena, for having me here. It's really great. Do you know what? I'm really new to interviews, you know, in terms of Zoom. I do all of my classes on Zoom now, which is great because it fits in with everything, you know, it makes it really flexible. So this is one of the first interviews. So my story, my journey is I've always had a problem with what I look like. As a child, I was always quite overweight. I'm still overweight now, and that's okay. And, you know, like experiences that happened. There was this one time, right, at school, we were doing this maths project and we all had to be weighed, right? The whole class had to be weighed. And they put the weight, they wouldn't do this now, right? But they put the weight of every child up on the board to see. And they did a graph. Okay. And of course, here's me right at the very top. And from that day, I felt very awkward, very conscious of myself. And so that really, that carried on with my nose. I used to sleep with a peg on my nose, right, to try and make it smaller. So I've always had, you know, when one thing shifted, because I lost weight then when I was in my teens, so I lost that worry about my body size, but then I had to find something else to focus on. Like, oh no, I don't like my nose now. And so it went on and into adulthood, and that continued. And I found yoga in my early teens, so I was probably about 13, and I used to do it from a book, right? So I used to spend time in my bedroom and I used to do it from a book, and for me, it was just an escape. I had to face these shadows that I kept blocking out all of the time. You know, I wouldn't look in a mirror, anything like that. And so I had to have this confrontation with myself. And I had to do that in terms of yoga, because you have to pay attention to your body when you're moving it, right? And so that's when the journey started. And it was, I'm not going to say it was a love affair at all with it, because I jumped in and out. I hopped on and off the yoga bus for years and years and years. And even, like, I'm 46 now. And so even in my early 40s, I still really struggled to look in the mirror, and just really was uncomfortable with who I was in terms of what I looked like, because I felt as though that really defined who I was. Because I think we feel that we make judgments on people's attributes. So for example, if you're overweight, people regard you as lazy or weak, whereas if you're thin, people regard you as a strong and confident person. And you know, it's really difficult to get out of that. And so my journey continued on and off for years with yoga. And you know, whilst I started to appreciate a little bit more how my body worked, the big thing for me was that I had to start to look at the things that I really liked about myself, the things that got me where I wanted to be, the things that made me joyful, the things that helped me create my children. You know, I had to look at those, and that was okay. I started to really get to grips with that. The thing that really got me was that I had to start to look a little bit deeper into the shadows and look at the things that I hated about myself. And to come to realise that through moving my body, but not just that, being able to get a little bit closer to myself and who I really was, I was able to appreciate that these flaws that I saw were all part of one thing. You know, I had these wonderful things, I had these terrible things, but together that brought the experience of having my children, all of these things that I've been proud of, all of my things that I've done through life that I thought, yeah, I'm so glad of that. You know, I'm so proud of myself, and made me feel powerful. None of that would have happened without these perceived weaknesses, these awful areas that I really found difficult. So I think that was the thing that really changed for me. And I began to feel empowered. I began to feel strong, but not physically, but just on the inside. You know, when you get that feeling of just this rush of joy that comes to you whenever, you know, you might be doing anything, all of a sudden, so everything stops, and you just get this universal rush of joy. You think, oh, wow, I'm so happy. Right this second, I'm so happy. That's what I found from yoga. Yeah. And just this feeling of being a little bit more comfortable in my body. Sorry, that's my dog. That's my dog.
Don't worry about it. My dog was doing it a minute ago as well. It's fine. It's fine. It's life, right? These are interviews to show the importance of self-care, and we don't need to worry about our dogs or our children. They're fine. It's fine. So for me, I'm just gonna grab my drink. For me, I've never tried yoga like in a length of time. I've had the odd like class. I tried a bit of Pilates too. Nice. They're really tough. They are really tough. People think that it's a lazy type of exercise sometimes, but actually you're using your body as weights for most of that, aren't you? Like your body resistance, and it's a really, like, you've got to focus on your breathing, and so it's all that mindfulness comes into play with yoga. It's something that I would really love to. I was just chatting to somebody about yoga actually, and she absolutely loves it. It's something that I would really love to get into. But then I put that doubt on myself that I'm not going to be able to get into some of those positions. And I'm aware that actually you wouldn't really start with those really tricky positions. It would be something that your body's going to be capable of, and you would like transition into those. But I've never been flexible, ever in my life. I've never been able to like lift my leg up like that high or anything, even from a little kid. That would be an amazing achievement just in itself. And I think self-care is all about doing things, and self-love is all about doing things that fill your cup. Like you were saying, that rush of joy inside of you, when you're feeling that with what you're doing, you know that you're aligned with it. Your body and your soul are aligned with doing that, and it's what you're meant to be doing in that moment. And living in that, you know, in the moment is where we should be all the time, right? Our brains are so busy, we've got busyness going around them all the time. To be able to just take that moment and focus is really important. I believe that.
100%. And you know, a lot of the time when I used to go to classes as a student, the main reason for me to do that was to have some time to myself, right? That was the absolute draw. And I know that that's true for a lot of my students. And you know, you talk about like being flexible and things like that, and like doing all these really difficult poses and getting into different poses. And that's true in certain types of yoga, you know, like you have to, it's really prescriptive, you know, put your foot here, put your arm here, blah, blah, blah. But for me, it's about how an experience feels in your body. It's not what a pose looks like at all. So everything is full of choices and modifications and challenges, you know, and I think that in itself is the most empowering thing, because the worst thing is to go to a yoga class and then do something crazy, like rock up into some like arm balance, and you're like there going, hang on. And you walk out feeling disempowered completely. Yeah. So for me, what I strive to give everybody that comes to my class is this feeling of strength, of building things up from the ground upwards, and just seeing how things feel in your body, not about what it looks like. And for one, Zoom is awesome for that, because we always turn our videos off, because I completely trust that the people that are my students and that are practicing with me are in tune enough to understand and to listen to what their bodies are saying, because our bodies whisper to us all the time, and just like a little tiny aching pain, like, don't do that, don't go any further, stop there, and then we ignore it, and then it goes, I can't do it anymore. So it's for me, it's much more about how a sensation feels in your body, not what a pose looks like, should look like. What the hell does that even mean? Like,
it's the same, isn't it?
That's very important.
As what I talk about when I talk about our self-image and things like that. We put so much pressure on ourselves to look a certain way because society and social media and the beauty standards, it's spread everywhere, like this ideal image of what we should look like, both female and male. There's always these images, and when you're watching adverts, all of the women and the men, they've either got muscles or that toned looking body, and that is there are people out there that look like that, and that's their real, but that's not the ideal real for everybody. And so I suppose, like where you're saying that, it's the same kind of thing. You've just got to be you and do what you can do. How your body works is the same as how, if I've got a bit of wobble, then that's me, that's fine, I'm happy with that, I'm not bothered. I've worked really hard to get to that space of not being bothered, because before I was really bothered. But the same with, if I started doing the yoga, I'm going to be a little bit bothered at first, because I can see everybody else is doing it and they're getting it right because they've been coming for a while, and my body might not be there. But I'm putting that boundary on myself if I don't go, if I don't do it, if I don't try, because it's something that I'm passionate about trying. So just being there in that and seeing everybody and how amazing it is, and listening and watching, I think would be so empowering that you wouldn't care that you couldn't do maybe the pose that the person next to you can manage to do. I remember going to the gym. This is a long time ago now, and it was just an exercise bike. I'd never really used one, so I'd been taken around. They show you how to use the equipment quite quickly, don't they? And I was always shy, so I wouldn't say, I didn't understand that. I would just go, okay, yeah, okay, and then he was like, off you go and have a pace. So then I got on this bike, and I was just like, okay, what am I supposed to do? Like, the seat was really high, the resistance was like I was like that, like on this bike. And this guy that was next to me, and I must have been in my mid-20s, and he must have been in his 60s, right? And he turned around and he tapped me and he went, you aren't ever going to get anywhere doing that. And I said, why? I'm on the bike. And he said, you've got no resistance, you can't reach the pedals. He came and he popped the seat down for me, he changed the resistance, and I started doing it, and it was really tough. And he was just going, and I was like, okay, right, I'm getting off this bike now, because I just felt embarrassed that I'd gone to the gym. I never went back. But it wasn't my thing anyway. It wasn't my thing. I just thought I'd go because everybody else said that they were going to the gym, and I wanted to try it. But I feel that yoga would be something that I would be really in tune with, because I meditate. I'm always talking about mindfulness and being present in yourself and in that moment, and grounding yourself so that you can just be. And I think yoga goes with that, right? It all kind of comes in together.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my God, I think you'd love it. And most people that try it, if you give it a little bit of time, because it's a yoga practice, it's called practice because you don't get it like that. It takes time to travel inward and to just get over these obstacles, right? Because we put obstacles in the way all the time. Oh, I can't do that because of this, I can't do that because of that, and we talk ourselves out of it. Oh my God, so much. If only we had that fierceness to be able to, when we get that gut instinct and we get that little bit of magic sparkle that we're like, oh, this is a great idea, I'm going to do it. If only we did it like that. And I don't know whether this life coach called Mel Robbins, loads of people know her.
Yeah, I know who Mel Robbins.
And she talks about the 5-second rule, right? Which isn't about picking food up off the floor. But it's true, because if you get that idea, you get some sort of instinct that comes to you and you're like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And you put something in action straight away, write it down, do whatever you need to do to make a pact with yourself to say, yes, I'm going to do it. Awesome. Because as soon as you start getting that idea, your mind is straight away saying, oh, hang on a minute, because I don't think you should do that because of this. And what happened the last time? Remember what happened the last time on that bike, Serena? Don't do it. Don't go to the gym. Do you know what I mean? And it's true though, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's absolutely true. I think even with like recording these videos, these interviews, it was I something that I'd thought about before, and I'd put off. I was like, okay, I'm not ready for doing that. I'm not confident enough to get on a Zoom and just chat to complete strangers that I've never met or whatever. And then the other week I was just like, do it. And then I was like, no. And then it came up in my head again, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it because this is the third time I've been told to do this, and I keep saying no. And yeah, so I put that post out, and I was like, okay, I'm taking action. I'm doing it. And it's been I've been doing this all week, and it's just been amazing to speak to women, and just to see that actually, once we found, like, everybody that I've spoken to, once they found something that they are passionate about, something that really lights up their soul, that self-care just kind of slips into place. And that, not, it's a routine or that regular practice of something, really just helps them through the day, no matter what it is. It can be absolutely anything, and that's powerful, right? To find that, absolutely powerful.
100%. And you know, there's that saying about, oh, you know, you need to be able to love yourself first before you can really love other people. And you know, as a mum, I was like, that's not true. That's rubbish. I can far easily give my love to my children than I can to myself. You know, no way. Who puts themselves first? Not me. You know, it's them first. It's them. And then I sat on it for a bit and I thought about it. And we did a yoga practice the other week, actually, on it, about kindness to yourself. And what came to my mind was this idea of having, like, we're a vessel, right? So we're like a vessel of loving kindness and goodness. And we are forever pouring it out to other people, pouring it out all the time. And it diminishes because it isn't, you know, it's not infinite. It's something that has to be renewed all the time. And the only way that you can renew it is by giving yourself time, giving yourself that gift. Even if it's just, you know, when we talk about self-love, I think people get this wrong idea of it, you know, and it's really like, oh, you know, I really love myself. What we're saying is we care enough about ourselves to step away, like to have an hour to walk, to get some headspace, to refill ourselves so we can continue to pour it out. Because otherwise, that love that we're giving to other people is getting diluted more and more and more. You know what it's like at the end of the day, you feel that you're on your last ebb and you're just like, man, I cannot give anymore. And something happens and you're just like, rah! And you react badly. You react badly because you've got nothing left.
Yeah.
So for me, that's what self-love is.
Yeah.
I start to honour myself a little bit more. I value myself and the things that I do. I value the things that I do enough to love myself. And the more that I can do that, the better I can be, and the more I can give to other people. And that's the selfless part of it. It's not a selfish thing. Self-love is not selfish or luxurious or, you know, a one-off thing. It's a necessity that we have to do every day to be the best that we can be for the other people in our lives.
Yeah.
And then the rest comes.
Yeah, absolutely.
The rest
and
comes.
I think I was talking to the lady that I was talking to before. We were talking about the importance or not so importance of routine, and how I start my mornings in meditation. I start my mornings doing my meditation, making sure that I'm like grounded and I'm focused for the rest of my day, making sure I've had a cup of tea, and that I get like dressed and ready, and it's in my own time without, I've got 5 children, so, but 2 of them are older, but like without them all going, mum, can I have, because if I wake up late and that happens, I'm grumpy. I'm not the mum that's calm and it's okay, it's, you know, this has happened, don't worry about it. I'm the mum that's gonna, that my son's just come in to just test this out. You need to go, leave the room for me, please. You want to see? Quick. There you go. Right, you just kiss.
Hi.
There you go. that's the thing, right? Is you can just lose it if you haven't had that time. It can just, you know, you can be grumpy mum or grumpy wife, and
Yeah.
when you wake up that way, unless you take that inspired action to make sure that day changes and that you take some time out for yourself, it's just going to be a roll-on effect throughout the whole day. Whereas if you start your day with a bit of you time, a bit of me, a bit of self-care, this is how I'm going to start my day, it's going to be nice, it's going to be relaxed, then you take that through to you for the rest of the day. Like, that's how I see it anyway. So that's why I always start first thing in the morning with my meditation.
Oh, 100%. And if you don't do it, you feel like you've failed already. You're just like, oh my God, I haven't done. Morning rituals are so incredibly important, no matter what it is, you know, whether it's meditation, whether it's having a glass of lemon water in the morning, whether it's just getting up and making your bed, right? You've won, because it's just like, tick, that's done. And it's just like, even if nothing else happens today, that's happened. And that's great, you know. But if those things don't happen, it's just like, I'm on the back foot then for the rest of the day, unless you take that inspired choice to go, actually, forget that, let's restart. I'm having that time because I need it, and they need me to have it. The people that I'm serving need me to have it.
Exactly. And I don't think people do they? If their routine's gone out of the window first thing in the morning, they just continue their day. They don't think, oh, actually, I can still take time. It doesn't matter that it wasn't then. And they might leave it until like late at night, until they're going for a bath or you know, they're taking that time for themselves. And even then, as mums, going for a bath isn't always as relaxing as we like to hope it would be. Like, children come in, they want your time. Even when they're in bed, they hear you upstairs and they're like, oh, mum's up, I'm gonna go and see what she's doing. I could quite often end up with a 4-year-old that wants to jump in my bath every time I get in the bath and wants to play with the bubbles or do something. So I've learned that that's my morning routine. And if he comes and plays with bubbles when I'm in the bath, that's fine. He can do that. As long as it's making him happy, I'll just have my bath and that's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you've got to take the rough with the smooth, haven't you? And actually, you know, maybe we need to lower the barrier a little bit in terms of what our expectations are. You know, if we can't live our lives like a retreat, and I think that people think that self-love and self-care is about that sort of retreat sort of thing, but it isn't. It's about these basic things. You know, we can bring our expectations right down, and having time to sit in a bloody bath, even if your 4-year-old's in there playing with a boat, I'm taking that, because that is great. You know, it's important, really important.
It is very. Thank you so much for coming and chatting with me today. It's been amazing to meet you, and you've done amazing for your first like little interview on Zoom. Amazing, bossed it. So what I'm going to do is I'll grab your information and I'll pop it underneath so people can come find you, whether that be on your Facebook or Instagram or wherever you want them to come find you, instead of us talking about it, because when we say it all, I can't even remember half of my things.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yes, so thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. And I hope that we get to do things together again soon. So
me too. That would be really cool. And you are absolutely 100% welcome to jump on any class and give it a go. You'll be really welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
That's okay, my darling.
Bye.
Bye.
How do I